let's start with, these restrictions. How do you think restrictions will be eased?
Janie, this is a new experience for everyone. It's a new experience for government. It's a new experience for the population. And so, we hear all sorts of conjecture about what's going to happen. And, most of it has been bad news. There's going to be domestic violence. There's going to be families being torn apart. But no one can really predict these things because this is a movable feast and it's changing day by day. Now, when the virus first started to take effect, and it was basically a declared emergency in this country, the government took immediate action. And one of the things about that immediate action was it was a very blunt instrument, as well as some travel bans and so forth. Eventually, a lot of social activities were cancelled on the spot. A lot of what was considered non-essential services were covered on the spot. Now, we know that that was disastrous for many businesses, but as we move toward undoing that and returning back to normalcy, rather than being an immediate reopening, we're not going to see all the pubs and restaurants suddenly open. It's not going to be New Year's Eve times 10. That's not going to happen. What we're going to see is a ramp up where progressively things will open based on a risk model. And it's going to be the assessment of risk in terms of what is the level of pain that we can tolerate, what is the level of sickness that we can tolerate, and economic pain and other considerations. That means certain industries will be considered essential, and what is defined as that is going to change over time. Now, the government kept a lot of things going, infrastructure and construction being very good examples, not only because of the obvious economic impact of closing those, but because those are not things that you can start up immediately, whereas there are other things that you can actually turn on and off with a bit more flexibility. So we are going to see a ramp up, and it's going to involve tremendous cooperation between those businesses, including a lot of self-assessment. Do they qualify? Do they not qualify? As well as the general public as we come to terms with this.
In your opinion, Daniel, if we were allowed to, for example, congregate in groups of roughly 10 or 50, what personal safety precautions will we need to take?
Well, humans have a remarkable ability to adapt. And if we look at the change in our society just over the last 4 weeks, I mean, it seems like forever. It seems like we've always existed this way, but it's only been a matter of weeks. You see it when you go to the shops. People naturally stand apart from each other, the way people interact, the way people dress to go out. Now, a lot has changed. Once upon a time, we lived in a society where stupid people doing stupid things would remove themselves from the gene pool. But where we are now is that stupid people doing stupid things can remove other people from the gene pool. So it's very important that not only do we take personal responsibility for how we act, but people going out, and particularly those who are in high-risk groups, need to assume that other people might not be as smart or as savvy as they are, and take appropriate precautions for yourself. And that's all about self-responsibility, personal care, and looking after yourself, as well as obviously looking after other people if you can. Now, the other thing that is going to change is that whereas on, call it day zero of this, we had an immediate absence of alcohol, sanitizer products, PPE and so forth, and there's very many reasons why that's the case. A lot of that's going to change, which is going to give people the facility to look after hygiene, to look after distancing, to look after PPE, and to adjust to what is hopefully only temporary, but is effectively a new way of life for us all at the moment.